Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Good morning, T. Good to have you. Good to have you with us. We got a great broadcast. This is what we call Black Conversation. Now, we call it Black Conversations because that's what it is, Black Conversation. But we want to let you know that you could be black, white, orange, dot, or lily stripes. You could call in with your opinion. We want to know what's going on in and around the communities. That's why we do what we call Black Conversations. And before we go another step further, before we go another iota, I got to say good morning. I got my brother from another mother, but we got the same father on the line with his brother Pete. Good morning, sir. How you doing
How
this
you
morning?
doing this morning?
Hey, man.
Doing good. How you doing this morning? DKM Radio, listen audience.
Hey, doing
How's everything this morning? The morning glow.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, we try to get we might shake up some stuff this morning, Pete. Now you don't mind shaking up a little something, do you?
We as long as we telling the truth.
There you go. There you go. And I wanna we're gonna jump. Normally, I have another topic we talk about before we get into the main topic of the day, but we're gonna jump right into this one right here, man. We're gonna jump right into this one this morning, and let it do what it do. Dave Chappelle, love that brother, man. Love that brother. But he said something in one of his comedy shows. I saw it a couple of weeks ago. Some bits. I didn't see the whole thing. I need to go sit down and look at the whole thing, but bits and pieces of it. And he said that we in our community, in the black community, we don't stick together and do the things that we need to do. Now he said he's not gonna say as a whole because he said there's some people that's doing some great things and that's are actually going out there fighting the fight. He said, but as a whole, we don't do the things that we need to do. Stick together. We're not assertive enough. He said we're not assertive enough in our community. He said he actually compared it to the LGBTQ community. He said if somebody sees something about that community, man, there's gonna be protests, there's gonna be movements, they're gonna go. It's gonna be an uproar. It's gonna be an uproar. But if they do the same thing about the black community, there's hardly nothing. Is he telling the truth?
He's on spot with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. We often talk about personal responsibility
Mm-hmm.
in America and vestiges of it, the remnants of it that go global
Mm-hmm.
relative to people of color, and especially those that are African descent, black, or linked in some
Mm-hmm.
kind of way close to being African black, as interpreted, uh, that group specifically
Mm-hmm.
has had a heavy application put on them for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
psychologically, spiritually, literally, legally, financially, educationally, health wise, just all over at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. We all bear individual and collective responsibility
Mm-hmm.
in all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at America and the quote unquote African American black community, well, healthy from around the world can come to America and come to that community across America,
Mm-hmm.
set up shop, open up some form of business, and they can just reach in, turn the vacuum on, and start sucking up the profits.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yet these people are sitting right there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they don't seem to take full advantage of those opportunities themselves. And then the question would automatically jump up, why? Well, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many reasons why.
Mm-hmm.
So many reasons why. But at the same time, we all still bear a personal and collective responsibility, regardless to what's hindering, challenging, or opposing, confronting our advancement.
Okay.
So
Now.
he's on spot with that statement, absolutely to a strong degree.
Mm-hmm. Now. I said we're gonna shake up some things, so I'm gonna talk on both sides of the coin this morning. What would you say, Brother Pete, to the people that would say, well, the same opportunity that we had, the outsiders coming in, and I say outsiders, not saying that they're outside, but I'm just using it as an example. If they say, well, these people that's coming into America, coming in with that vacuum, the same opportunity that I had or that we had, they y'all had it too. You know, y'all already here talking about the black community. Y'all already here. Why didn't y'all take advantage of it? Is it that y'all just didn't see an opportunity, or is it just that y'all lazy, or just didn't want to? And now here I come, see an opportunity, and I'm capitalizing on the opportunity. You want to be me? What do you say to those people?
Well, the reality is, see, that's an involved question with extremely complicated answer.
Mm-hmm.
Because many who come here, they're coming here on the backs of the advancements, the struggles,
Yes.
the strife, and the strides that have been made by those who had to confront various issues before they ever got
Mm-hmm.
here. So
Mm-hmm.
the path was laid. The dirt was turned over and strengthened and turned into a road. By the
Mm-hmm.
time they came here, they didn't have to walk uphill barefoot in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
They drove on. They was able to drive a car on a paved road.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So it's that has to be understood. You standing on the backs of those who laid the foundation for you to come here and have a better experience.
That's
Had
true.
you or your ancestors come here 100 years ago, or 200 years ago, or 300 years ago, you very easily might have had and definitely would have had a different experience.
Mm. And see, there's so many different layers that we could go on this thing here, man. We're gonna cover as many as we can in the short time that we do have here. And want to let everybody know the phone lines are open 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Let us know what you think about it. Are we is so assertive enough? Is one of the is one of the ways that I'm putting this in a ball today. Captain Leonard, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, and the Morning Glow family.
Man, Leonard, asking the question, brother. Um, and I start.
Last one.
Peter Brown, big brother Peter Brown.
I'm asking the question based on one of the things that and you love comedy, and Dave Chappelle, he said something. He said that in our community we're not assertive enough. We don't do the things that we need to do to maintain, to motivate, to make sure that we move forward. He said, and one of the examples that he gave, he said if somebody were to talk bad about the LGBTQ or say something bad about that community, there's going to be an uproar. People going to be all out in the street. They're going to be protesting. There'll be all kind of things are going to happen because you said something bad about that community. But if you say the same thing about the black community, crickets, almost nothing. He said, I'm not going to say with a wide brush. He said because there's some people out there that's doing great works. He said, but it's not enough. He said it's not enough. Is he on point?
No,
Mm-hmm.
it's his opinion. And first of all, I love Dave Chappelle, but he is not in that community.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different individual.
Mm-hmm.
He's an individual with means and power to do anything he would like to do. So you can't, in one hand, talk about not doing when you, and on the other hand, you have the power to do whatever it is that you want. Everybody don't have that same power.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying he's wrong, but he's going to have to provide more information other than talking points and a special
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because he has the power to do whatever he would like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what his conversation should be about,
Mm-hmm.
not about what everybody else isn't doing or is not doing because they black.
Mm-hmm.
He knows a lot more powerful and influential black people, which the community which he is a part of. Why aren't they doing more if he's going
Mm-hmm.
to talk about anything? That's
Mm-hmm.
what he should talk about.
Okay, point taken, point taken. But let me ask you this: is the point that he was trying to make in saying this thing? Is there any facts? Are there any layers of facts in what he said?
Well, it wouldn't be true for people like Peter Brown.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't
Absolutely.
be true for people like myself, yourself, of lots of people that we know.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be true.
Yeah.
I think he should have spoken directly to a particular issue, and which is the reason why he had to go back and say the broad brush. You know, everybody says the broad brush
Yeah,
when
yeah.
they say something that they very well know.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not true.
Wow.
So
Wow.
so you pick and choose what you would like. Now, if you want to focus on people who ain't doing nothing, then that would be true.
Mm-hmm.
But to me,
Mm-hmm.
doing something in the black community is being married, taking care of your kids, going to work every day, and trying to build something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of black people that are doing just that. You could talk about political power. I mean, that would be a better conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't tell me what it is they should be doing, what you doing to encourage them to do it, don't say nothing to me at all.
Yeah. That's
Especially if you're rich.
mm-hmm. Okay. I can see that too, but like I said, my thing is and before I do that, let me go to Dollar Tucson. Dollar Tucson, good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right. How about yourself? Good morning.
Hey, doing good. Tell everybody where you're hailing from.
You tell me. I'm gonna say Appaloosa, Louisiana, and I live in Pascagoula, Mississippi, but
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
you say
mm-mm.
otherwise.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna say otherwise, brother. Cause you from Appaloosa, Mississippi. That's where you from, brother. That's where you
What
from.
I'm talking about? Yeah, it is.
But let me. What do you think about what we're talking about this morning, man? Does Dave Chappelle have a point? Because he said if you say something about the LGBTQ community, and we're not saying anything against that community, that's not what we're doing here. We're just making a point from what he said. But he said if you say something about that particular community, there's going to be an uproar. There's going to be an uproar. There's going to be all kind of stuff going on in the street, protesting and all riots and all kind of things because you said something about negative about that particular community. But he said you could say the same thing about the black community and you almost hear crickets. Does he have a point? From where you're standing, does he have a point?
I stand at a distance regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, is a twofold right and wrong because it depends on who you're talking about. Now there are some people that you say something and they just build each other up, no matter whether they right or wrong. We could disagree with them or not. But crabs have claws for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
especially when
Mm.
they're all in a bucket.
Sir. Yes, sir.
You caught that? Did
Yes,
you catch
sir.
that?
Yes, sir. I got you. I
Who
got you.
has the biggest crab mentality?
Mm.
Um, I don't know. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying. It's just me. Ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. And here's the thing: what I wanted to say. These celebrities don't speak for me. Who was it last time? Ice Cube, somebody else. Somebody was speaking for us. At one time, they had Don King speaking for us.
Mm-hmm.
And them two ladies, them two silly women that are on a platform. Them folks don't speak for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody, excuse my language, in my life. I don't even know them. They don't know me. They have a we um listen to people that have platforms, uh, especially on a big arena. They don't speak for me.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I don't value their opinion
Yeah.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
None. Who's he's a comedian. So you know what I do, and I appreciate him for his laughter that he offers
Mm-hmm.
to the community. That's it. He's a comedian, and just because he has a platform that's comical, when he gets serious and says something, and I'm not saying nothing against what he's saying or him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes.
just saying that he does not speak for me.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
He has as much influence in my life as what's the guy, um, the little short guy,
Cat Williams.
the other Cat Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Him and David Chappelle are in the same category.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Wow. Wow.
That's it.
Okay. And I can understand and I can agree with what you all are saying, but I really want to get to the point that does he have a point? Is there any are there any elements of truth Brother Pete, in what he's saying?
I say it is a degree of truth in what he's saying. And see, I'm gonna clarify it like this. My dear brother Lynn Swan came on and gave his articulation, and if you heard him, he was talking about his individual.
Yes.
You see how we talk about individual responsibility, individual, collective responsibility. My
Exactly.
dear brother, elder experienced teacher, brother Toussaint came on. Did you hear him say they don't speak for me?
Yes. Exactly.
Individual. See, we can't get away from the individual responsibility and then the collective part that comes with that, right? So as a group, we seem to have a little some challenges. We're not one-minded as a whole group of people. We don't all think the same.
Yes.
Okay. And then we don't interpret things the same. Okay. But understanding how to position ourselves as a group and have a semblance or a structure that goes out ahead, a pack, if you would, or some form of commission or committee or structured entity that goes out and charts the path for advancement in business and production and education and your security in in this society, your structured security in function in the society. See, I'm interpreting what he's saying more so along those lines. Now we do have it, but again, we have to also not make excuses, but acknowledge the great challenges, okay, the confrontation that has been mounted against us doing all of that in its own purpose, and it's historical and it's documented, and it still goes on today. So, but even in the midst of that, what is our individual and collective responsibility to mount a challenge equal to the challenges that confront us, and then have our grounded determination to still go forward with our individual and collective agenda for us. So that's what I'm hearing him say, and others do the same. White supremacy as a system in function is a global functioning concept. It's not every last one of them, but it's a system that operates, and it benefits those, it positions those, and it aids and assists in a certain way to a certain degree. Okay, so where's ours? How is the continent of Africa still being pilfered and pillaged by any and everybody, but not the resources utilized by those that actually come from there, and we would designate that to be their land? So there's the individual and collective responsibility. But then you've allowed yourself, and you've been put into a position of vulnerability to where you're making deals and relationships with entities that have more of a grab and take mentality and drop off a few crumbs. China's now building all over Africa, but what are they taking?
Yes,
for the building that they're doing?
Wow.
See, what's the balance with you building me a hospital, you're building me a road, you're building me a town, but then you building a police station in one country and putting your police in the station. Hold on, what? In my country. And we want all the resources, and we give you this loan, but if you default on the loan, we're taking all of this for the next 100 years.
Wow.
Well, the road and the hospital and the school is not worth that. So, come on, we have to do better, and we can, and we will, and we are.
We will overcome. We will overcome. Is has been a verbiage that's way on back in the 50s and the 60s. Leonard, we've been singing that song, man. And to a certain degree, yes, we have. But the road is not. But we're not at the end of the road right now, Leonard. What else has to happen for us to get to that place where we can say we've overcome, we've overcame, if you will?
I mean, some people already have. I mean, if you just like the song, you just like to sing the song. Some people love sad songs, and they'll sing them forever because that's what they like.
Yeah,
They're a bunch of sad song singers. They have a little band together. but it's not
Mm-hmm.
true for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can't sing that song.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just can't because it does not fit who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to be that, you can. I'm sick of people that have sitting around talking about they don't have
Mm-hmm.
and pretending like they're struggling and all these types of things. You don't know the struggle of our ancestors who were imprisoned and treated unfairly, and it was legal this way.
Mm-hmm.
The inhumane torture of an enslaved people. Now, if you said what it is you're trying to overcome, that would be different.
Mm-hmm.
Martin had a dream and he explained the dream as he saw it to you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of his dream has been fulfilled.
But are there some elements of it that we're still struggling with today, Leonard?
Well, it depends on what you call a struggle. You
Mm-hmm.
deserve what you get.
Mm-hmm.
There, I mean, what? Look at all the things available and the opportunities available that were not there before. You can't just overlook that because you enjoy singing that song.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of rich people claiming broke and being slaves.
Mm-hmm.
You're completely educated. You know exactly how to articulate yourself. You've built some wealth for yourself and a platform. You mentioned Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was talking from a person who makes money talking.
Mm-hmm.
So when he says something, they call him or they say something about him because he's in the spotlight and he's talking. Look at Michael Richards. Michael Richards lost his career behind what he said.
Yes, he did.
So if Dave Chappelle is going to say those types of things, then he needs to stop saying the N word because
Mm.
he's saying whatever he wants to say about black people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he's dedicated to that particular thing, then that should be his movement.
But to one of the things that he has said, and we got another caller. We'll get to that call in just 1 second. But to one of the things that he has said, he came back and the caller mutual line. We got some background noise coming from me call from me line. New caller mutual line for me. But one of the things that he has said, and I just saw this. He said, I'm no longer going to do gay and LGBT jokes. He said I'm not going to say those jokes anymore because of the backlash that he has gotten from what he said about that particular community. Now he never and to your point, Leonard, he never said I'm not going to use the N word or say black jokes anymore because he don't get that same pushback. Why do you think that is the case?
He's not telling you that because one of the things that anybody who uses really derogatory types of speech or whatever usually gets pushback, depends on who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Chappelle has made all his money doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave
Mm-hmm.
Chappelle is an entertainer who is about the freedom of speech. So he believes you can say what you would like. Now, because his views about the LGBT community are different than mine, that's
Mm-hmm.
his life. That's the life he chose. He chose that type of life where he is targeted.
Mm-hmm.
So what
Mm-hmm.
does he want? He wants black people to boycott him in his shows? Is that what he
I
wants?
I doubt that. I doubt that's his
Okay, so
yeah. Yeah.
the entire narrative makes no sense
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
unless that's what he's talking about.
I don't think that's what he's talking about, Leonard. But
Well, what
one
is
of
he
the things I
talking
do,
about?
one of the things I do think that I think he's trying to shine the light. Maybe he was careless in his approach and his delivery on what he was trying to do or how he did it. But I think he was trying to shine more of a light about us not standing up. I don't say us because it certainly don't include any one of us that's on this line right now, myself included. So when I say us, I'm not talking about us individually, but I'm talking about us collectively. Not coming together and doing the things when something happened in our community, man. We don't do the pushback that we should. We don't
Like
get out there.
what?
There's name it, brother. There's so many
No,
different
it's
things.
not my argument. It's not my
Mm-hmm.
argument.
Mm-hmm.
So if you bring the argument, you should have some example.
Exactly. Now, the situation that happened. Let's go back to George Floyd. Let's throw that in the
It
situation.
has nothing to do with the
No, 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 no,
LGBTQ community.
no. I'm talking about our community, and I'm talking about how we don't push back. They will push back. Stuff like this won't happen because they'll fight. We will sit there. We'll take out our cameras, our phones, and we'll video. To my, I'm recording this while someone is sitting there with a knee on the back of their neck and they're dying, man. You
What does
recording this?
that have to do
You
with
recording
a
this?
joke about
You recording
somebody
this?
gay?
No, no,
That's
no, no, no,
murder.
no. No,
That's
no, Mike.
murder.
You missing my point, brother. What I'm saying to you is, we as a community, I'm talking individual about us now. We don't fight back in the way that we should, because somebody, truth of the matter, somebody should have went over there and tackled him if that was the last resort and knocked him off that man's neck. Somebody should have done something. Video. Okay, now you got evidence. You got the evidence, but still, this man is still dying. This man is still dying. And so that's one of the things that I'm talking about. I want you to finish your thought. We're going to go to the phone line. Then we're going to go back to Donald Toussaint as well as Pete. What's on your heart, brother?
But that has nothing to do with the freedom of speech and telling a joke on stage.
No.
Nor is it even comparable to the comments that Dave Chappelle made about the LGBTQ community. That whole special was about what Dave Chappelle said that caused those people to write letters, which they have a right to. We have a whole George Floyd law being debated because of this incident. People protested around the world because of George Floyd incident.
Okay, but see, my thing, I think you're missing what I'm saying to you, though, brother. I'm saying it has nothing to do with. See, you kind of right there, and I can understand why you're right there with the comparison type thing. But I'm not talking about the comparison. I'm talking about what we're doing, and I think he was kind of messy. I don't know if I even want to say messy. He was careless in his approach, in his delivery of what he was saying. But I'm going back to saying this is what I think he was trying to say. And that's all I'm saying. This is what I think he was trying to say about us not doing the things that we need to do. Take the LGBTQ out of the equation. I think, and I'm focusing more on us. I think he's saying that we're not doing everything that we need to do in our community to catapult us in a better position. We have another caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Morning, Go family. What's going on, L Dog? What's going on, baby? How y'all feeling, man? It's Kurt. Sound City, baby.
Good deal. Good. Kurt, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm loving this conversation already, brother. I'm loving this conversation because I know that there's gonna be a lot coming out of this conversation. It might get a little heated, blah, but it's all out of love. And so we definitely gonna tackle this thing this morning. What we're talking about, we got another caller just called in. What we're talking about this morning, Dave Chappelle. I don't know if you saw it, and in his special, he was saying that we're not assertive enough. Basically, he's saying that if you say something about the LGBT community, there's going to be uproar, protests. There's going to be all kind of things going on because you insulted that community. But he said we don't do the same thing in regards to us. Are we, Kurt, assertive enough in our community in regards to stuff like that?
No, we are not. And folks have to understand the reasoning behind us not being that assertive. You gotta understand the reasoning. Dave Chappelle, one of the things that nobody seems to even talk about with Dave Chappelle is you gotta understand where Dave Chappelle's from. If I'm not mistaken, Dave Chappelle is from DC. And Dave has seen things on a enormous scale, like the LGBTQ community has been enormous in DC, and it's been a lot of quote unquote in the closet relations and blatant disrespect and disregard for that community. You want to disrespect them and disregard them, but then you want to lay with them at night.
Wow.
You understand? Like, listen, it's a reason why.
Grown folk conversation.
It's okay. It's a reason why Vladimir Putin put it out there in 2016. Y'all keep messing with me, and I'm gonna tell the country, I'm gonna tell the world about what y'all really do.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's a reason why we call a certain senator Lady G.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the reason why I took care of a transgender kid who could tell me every single thing in one of the houses on K Street, where the furniture was at, what was there, who stayed in what room, the whole nine.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And Dave Chappelle, if the LGBTQ community could take a minute, and although it may sound offensive to some, Dave Chappelle kind of tells an inconvenient. You see, that's the thing about inconvenient truth.
Mm-hmm.
Inconvenient truth is inconvenient, and a lot of times it hurts. But you gotta tell the truth. Hey, when the LGBTQ community raise up, guess what? Actions happen, man.
Yeah, yeah.
If you realistically want to talk about the results, I'm gonna keep it all the way above. Some people gonna think I'm crazy. They might even call you and just straight curse me out for saying what I'm about to say. But I'm gonna keep it all the way above. If it wasn't for the LGBT community, the civil rights movement would have stopped.
Wait a minute.
It would have stopped.
You got to clarify that, brother.
The architect of the civil rights movement, the actual architect, when they started making moves, they were making moves, but they wasn't making strategical moves. They were just making moves saying, look, we tired of this. You know what I'm saying? Enough is enough. But then a young man who had been kicked out of New York because of his LGBTQ affiliation, I want to say his name was Barry Rustin, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But the young man who actually sat down with Dr. King and helped them come up with a strategy, who gave them his strategy, was a member of the LGBTQ community. So see, the LGBTQ community has been in the middle of struggle and fight for a lot of years. When you look at the women's suffrage movement, they didn't call them LGBTQ back then, but a lot of them was LGBTQ. When you look at the fight for fair schools, for even pay, when you look at those fights, if you really look at the people involved and you do some research on their background, you'll find out that they're members of the LGBTQ community. They might not be open with it, and that's their right. I don't have to come out and tell you what I am. I don't like you. That's none of your business. My sexuality is none of your business. But you know, the community has been here, and true indeed, I didn't hear what Dave Chappelle said, but I've heard some of his jokes. And if I think on some of his jokes from a human perspective, all he doing is taking one sector of the human race and saying, you know, if that's what you're going to do, you know, it's kind of funny to me. Like, how do you do A, B, C, and D, and then you can still, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that Dave Chappelle honestly means any harm against the LGBTQ community. But I do think
I don't think so either. I don't think so.
Push, I think there's a push to use Dave Chappelle to I think there's a push to blame somebody. So they go to Dave Chappelle because Dave Chappelle, let me just keep it all the way a buck and I'll end with this. 846 told us some things that we was not supposed to know, Raheem. I don't know if you watched that. Did you watch it?
No.
846, Dave Chappelle did a special called 846. right? And it was supposed to symbolize. Remember, they were saying in the beginning that when that police put his knee on George Floyd's neck, it was at 8:46. So Dave Chappelle did a drive-in comedy stand-up, and he called it 8:46, and he did it in his backyard. So you could drive in, you post your car by the stage, and because of COVID, George Floyd told America, do you remember that cop out in California that they was trying to hunt down? The one that I think he shot the reporter or something like that, and it was like a national manhunt. Then they burned him up. In his manifesto, when they was looking for him, because it was a manhunt out there, when they was looking for him and they went into his apartment, they found out that he sent a letter to Dave Chappelle.
Wow.
Saying to Dave Chappelle, man, I love you. I love your work, this, that, and the third. So the FBI, and he explained to Dave Chappelle what he was going through in the LAPD. And the FBI came to Dave Chappelle and was like, look, we got a shooter on the loose. We need to protect you, blah, blah, blah. And Dave Chappelle told them, hey, I don't mean no harm, but this guy loved me. Y'all don't need to protect me. Y'all need to protect yourselves.
Exactly.
But he told the world what really was going on behind that, as opposed to them. They made that man look like he was a monster, and they was on a lot of foul things to that man.
Okay.
So
hold on, Kurt. We got to keep it moving, brother. We got to keep it moving.
It doesn't surprise me that all of a sudden we talking about Dave Chappelle and him having a problem with the LGBTQ community. I don't think Dave Chappelle even has a problem with the LGBT community, because I think it's something that he's seen all the time.
Exactly. Hold right there, Kurt. Don't go nowhere. Let me go to Donald Toussaint. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm gonna get put off in the corner, and I'm gonna get put out the church too.
Don't get put out the church too, brother. Go ahead. What's on your heart?
When Curtis said, if it wasn't for the LGBTQ, I don't mean to mispronounce their acronym.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't for them, civil rights would have stopped. You know what first thing came to my mind?
What's that?
Y'all have to excuse me. Well, damn.
Hey! Go ahead, brother. Now, why was that the first thing that came to your mind? What did that spark?
Because there are people that hide under the banner that are discreet, but when they come out, regardless to whether you disagree with them, don't like their lifestyle, if we just say, well, I'm fighting for civil rights, most of the time somebody's gonna bring in racism, and that's the biggest ignored thing in society. Period. Don't say that. Don't say that. Oh no, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. That's what we'll say. But if a Klan member fights for civil rights, we'll support him we'll be headstrong in supporting him. I don't care if it is but so when I thought that, I said, "Doggone it, he right."
Wow.
He correct. Because anything, if you are a African American man standing for civil rights, the first thing they say is, "Oh, you being reverse racist. You just kicking the can, trying to stir things up. Oh, it's not because he was black that they put their feet on his neck. He was just a
tyrant,
crackhead.
Yeah.
That's why they had his feet on it. So you got to look at his record if you look at his record and his past lifestyle, he was just a criminal anyway. Wait a minute. What does that have to do with the other?
Exactly.
So, over and over again, we've been kicking the can of downright what it is. But if somebody else stands for it, then say, oh, I'm going to hear you because laws protect what you say. And if we say anything about you, then we can have criminal charges against us and be sued. So if David Chappelle, for instance, says, I'm going to stop talking about LGBTQ, however you pronounce it, I got to look at it to pronounce it, and I don't mean any harm. I really don't. He says he's going to stop making jokes about him because he can get sued.
Yeah.
But he can say, excuse my language, he can say nigga all day long.
Exactly.
And they'll just laugh because he's a comedian.
Exactly. Brother Pete, we got a lot of layers going on, man, and we have people like Dave Chappelle that say certain things, and then he get backlash, and then you have other people like Howard Stern. Howard Stern he made a living on shaking them up and quote unquote shaking up the masses by his comments. Where lies the difference?
His network, his relationships. And then the audience that he's talking to. When you're dealing with the different ethnic groups, cultural, differences, and the approach, the positioning of the group, that's what we mean when we're talking about, again, the individual and collective responsibility. If you identify your group as a group in things that are important to your group, then as a group, you would have group mentality to address your issues as a group. And we do that, but it goes back to, again, the network, the relationships. Who owns the platform that he's talking about? Who's patronizing? Who are the sponsors? Where's the real money coming from? Where's the real money and power, ownership, and influence behind it? So if you're saying derogatory things to groups that are irrelevant to that structure, if say what you want, what they gonna do? What can they do? You care less. It's not gonna stop your money. It's not gonna put you off the air. It's just doing nothing. The lights are paid. Your paycheck is coming. Your bills are paid. Everybody's happy over here. And these people outside that have nothing to do with this other than listen. And they mad? Okay, great. Let's say some more. Make them madder. Maybe they'll keep listening and keep the ratings going high. Maybe they'll drive the algorithm. If they don't do nothing else, that's still helping my position. So, power and influence. If you don't have the power to affect it, the LGBTQ, by trying the whole ABC, of it, they're powerful. They're influential. They in key places, like the brother just said. Young person he was working with could tell you the whole setup. Obviously, he been there. They've been up in there.
Exactly.
Been up in there doing what? Eating cake and ice cream. So these people are positioned all over the place.
You're gonna eat your cornbread.
Elected officials, bankers, financial people, millionaires, billionaires. They everywhere, and the judges, lawyers. They in every facet of society. Scientists. They everything. So you might have some issues. Israel. Say something about the Jewish community.
Yes.
Something derogatory against it. Right? Something hostile.
Ask Nick Cannon. Ask Nick Cannon about that.
And they will come after you. I'm talking about all over the world. They'll come at you. Right? Because they're looking at it from a group standpoint. Hey, hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you need to get over slavery, but don't you dare forget the horrificness of the Holocaust. All right.
Exactly. Captain Leonard, come on, let's talk, brother. What's on your heart?
Well, my heart don't change. I mean, he has a completely different community that he's talking about. He's in a different life.
Mm-hmm.
He does things, he moves a lot differently than most people. He is very much into activism. He always has been his entire career, pretty much.
Yes.
So, I know what he does when he's not on stage or what have you, but I also know his lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
and what he goes through with being a comedian and doing what he does. And people don't understand he's a Muslim as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he's always been aware. That's what makes him such a great comedian. But, I don't have an issue about, I'll fight with the LGBT community all day. I ain't never seen a water fountain they couldn't drink out of.
Exactly. Come on.
They could sit wherever they want on the bus. They could have done whatever they wanted to do as long as they was white.
Mm-hmm.
Have most of these people that are you see in Congress and all these places and doing these things are gay people who happen to be in power.
Mm-hmm.
Not in power because they gay, because being gay don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
There's no power struggle between gay and straight people. Because too many of the people that you're talking about are gay. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of these entertainers and all these people, they're gay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But being gay has never prohibited them from being in power.
Mm-hmm.
Howard Stern completely left terrestrial radio to go say what he wanted to say.
Exactly. Yes, he
That's
did.
why he did it.
Mm-hmm.
But he has his opinion. There are people who have confronted him, talk about him, criticize him, just like everybody else that says things and are free to say what they want to say. If Dave Chappelle chooses not to do a thing, that's his choice.
Mm-hmm.
They the one that go in the contract and make deals with these people. So guess what? These people can affect your income.
Mm-hmm.
That's your business, not mine. You the one made a deal with those people. You know exactly how those people are.
Yeah.
Look at what they did to you before.
Mm-hmm.
So his comments about the LGBTQ community is based on his life,
Mm-hmm.
not mine, not my struggle. The majority of the individuals that sparked one of my favorite movements in history is the Black Renaissance.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The majority of these people are gay. One of my favorite writers, James Baldwin,
Mm-hmm.
is gay, but look at how he accentuated the black struggle in America.
Mm-hmm.
You can't separate these things this way and say if you say this about this, then these people gonna get upset because you know what? They get upset about everything. That's how they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you say it's Monday and they want it to be Tuesday, they'll be complaining about what you said.
Now they're not gonna argue with you about that, are they?
If they felt like it, and they come together as a community to support the foolishness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they come. Those of you have the Anti-Defamation League is another one. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. You have other things that whatever group somebody's formed, they attack you for saying things the PETA people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
say something about if you're wearing a fur, then they mad.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody gonna always have a problem with what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is, are you gonna keep saying it or not?
Yeah.
Or are
Yeah.
you gonna bow down to it? His
Mm-hmm.
choice is to keep him from getting so much hate mail.
Exactly.
That man
Exactly.
ain't got no problem with gay people.
No, I don't think he does either. I don't think he do at all.
But it's great to make something out of nothing when
Mm-hmm.
you're fighting about nothing in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. That's good. That's good. Hold on 1 second. Let me go to this call. I want to go to make sure I get the call included in the conversation that we're having this morning. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? I think that's Cassandra Green. Cassandra, you with us? Cassandra. We'll come back. She might have some issues with a phone line. Cassandra's with us this morning, so we want to pull her into the conversation as well. But go ahead, Curtis, you wanted to say something?
Listen, let me just be blatantly honest here.
Mm-hmm.
If I decide to start a movement, right, I'm just going to tell it a truth. I ain't even going to say it's inconvenient. It might be inconvenient for some because the visual is more important than the message.
Mm-hmm.
But if I wanted to start a movement the day of tomorrow and I was to start that movement, and I really believed in what the movement was trying to do, you can best believe I'm going to reach into that LGBT community to get their backing.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to call a spade a spade. When them folk come together, they get things done. Don't get that twisted.
Mm-hmm.
And see, here's the thing. How you going to bully somebody who has been bullied to the point that they have made it up in their mind, they not taking it no more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say what I want to say. You done already painted me as the scum of the earth, so I ain't got to worry about being on the bottom. Because you done already painted me in that light. But Leonard also said something else. When you talk about the Black Renaissance, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Black Renaissance is not only filled with Black artists, but it's filled with white artists that completely understood the plight against Black America.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you talk about James Baldwin as an artist and as an actor, there's a name that nobody ever talk about, and I believe that they don't talk about him too much because they're ashamed to talk about him because he was LGBTQ.
Mm-hmm.
He was trans, and that's Tennessee Williams, which coming from that era was another. He was the white, honestly, to put it bluntly, he was the white James Baldwin, and he was trans. I remember one time I got a call to do a play by Tennessee Williams. I cannot remember the name of this play, right? And I didn't know that, here's how they do sometimes. They'll big up these people, but then they won't tell you no real backstory behind them. They'll just push the narrative that this person was great at this, was great at this, was great at this, right? So I had knew who Tennessee Williams was from an acting standpoint. I never knew who he was from a human standpoint. So somebody called me to do this play in this book. It's like, Leonard, what you call it? An anthology, when it's like a bunch of a particular writer's work. Is that like an anthology or something like that? So I get the book and I flip to the play. When I flip to the play, I'm reading, and the play is about a LGBTQ male who is dating this other man, and the other man is extremely abusive, taking his money. Oh, I mean, man. Right. And LGBTQ,
You're exactly right.
I think you might know what piece I'm talking about. The gay guy, if we want to use that term, because that term can be offensive to some as well.
Yeah.
But the gay guy, he gets to a point that he just can't take it no more. And he decides, I'm breaking this off, and I'm breaking it off now. But in order for him to break it off, he has to literally fight this guy and put him out of his house. But he kills him. Right? And what blew my mind was I read the foreword. And a lot of times as actors, we don't read the foreword. We open up the script, we go, Raheem, you go straight to the script. You're going straight to your parts, this, and the third.
Exactly.
So when I read the foreword pushed me to look into who this guy really was. He was from Louisiana, and he was LGBTQ. And he had to live in that bubble because during that time, it was not acceptable for you to come out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as I'm reading, I find out that in this particular play, a lot of his struggle was put into this particular piece. Now, I didn't do the play. That was by choice. I was not, you know, I didn't have a visual presence. And the state of South Carolina really didn't know me as an actor at that point. And I was like, you know what? As a man, I don't want my greatest piece to be me being gay.
Yeah.
And exactly. I really don't want it to be me being a black gay male who is beating up.
Didn't want to get stereotyped
on this white gay male.
Yeah, didn't want to get stereotyped as well. Hold on one second.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, you definitely didn't want to get stereotyped into that type role because a lot of times that can happen. Cassandra, are you back with us?
Good morning.
Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
I'm well, thank you.
Good deal. Good to have you with us. We're talking about are we in our community, in the black community, are we assertive enough? And we're coming from a point. Dave Chappelle said that if and he didn't say this in a negative way. He wasn't trying to downgrade or disrespect the LGBT community. He wasn't trying to do that. But what he did say is, if you come at that community, they're gonna come. It's gonna be some backlash. Gonna be some protests. Gonna be all kind of things going on. You're gonna get some pushback. But he say if you say the same thing about the black community, you're almost gonna hear crickets. He say I'm not gonna say it with a big brush. There's some people out there that's really doing an amazing job, that's really fighting. But as a whole, you're not gonna get the same pushback. Does he have a point?
Yeah, I believe he does. Okay, just from being an activist, and I'm sure, you know, Leonard, I guess we would probably be on the same page. I feel like we do not fight the way that we should for ourselves in a lot of areas. We really don't. We'll complain about it. We'll talk about it. The things that would change. I'm big on two points when it comes to bringing change. That I do believe in the protests, and we've seen it make changes. We've seen changes happen as a result of it. And I believe in legislation. We have to change, you know, what are on the books, because that's what a lot of these people go by. But I feel like for our people, mental health and several other areas, we do not fight for ourselves even. And there were a lot of whites during the years that fought for civil rights. There were whites that fought for slavery to be abolished. We you know, and we downplayed that, I think, a lot of times, but they really were. They really were. So yeah, I believe, what Chappelle said, I believe is right.
Good.
I do believe that we don't fight like we should.
Wow. Pete, talk to me, brother. Pete, you there? Okay, we might have lost brother Pete there for a second. I think you might have had to step away for a second. So let's keep this thing going. Toussaint, we hadn't heard from you in a minute, brother. What's on your heart? Leonard, come to you next.
There was this thing I'm looking at thinking, I don't know if it started in the 50s, but there was a phrase called coming out of the closet. Right?
Yes.
Now, between now and then, we find that there were so many people coming out of the closet till they got tired of saying, I'm coming out the closet, I'm wide open, and you better not say nothing. So husbands, wives, doctors, lawyers, senators, governors, all of these entities of life, pastors, preachers, and teachers. All of them are now out of the closet, and they are part of every community known to man.
Mm-hmm.
They have, for years, been secretly, I can't say what I want to say, been mates to people privately.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And now they're coming clean, per se. And they are these doctors and pastors and preachers and teachers and nurses and senators and governors and mayors and every entity of life, I believe. I might be wrong. But they're black, they're white, they're Asian, they're African, they're Australian, they're everything, from every nation you can know, come man. It's 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 filled with society looking like
Mm-hmm.
those that are making choices. See how I'm carefully choosing my words?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To mix and mingle with whoever they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And the senators and the governors and the mayors and the people that make laws that have been intermingling with these in that type of action or in support of it because they're part of it.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone into the point where they have the pastors and preachers that don't agree with it have to put it in their bylaws and in their um, uh, uh, church covenants and everything else. You better have it in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't and you don't agree and somebody says, I need you to marry us. Oh, we want to be part of your choir. Matter of fact, we already part of the choir.
Mm-hmm.
We play and we preach and teach. And we do everything else. We're part of Muslims. We're part of atheists. We're in the Klan. We're in everything.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And what you gonna do?
Wow.
So to say that they are a community, no, they are part of every community.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they get so much support. And I was thinking about if there is a such thing as a black community, because we everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact that we have a tendency to not come together because we like to be individuals.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be free.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that. You have a point there, and that's one of the things I was wondering about, and I was wanting to get to. And Captain Lynn, I'm coming to you about this right here. And he's and Toussaint said it, man. You talk about the LGBT community, and you talk about how the black community don't do this. Well, the black community is a big part of not I don't know if it's a majority or whatever it is, but they are a big part of the LGBT community as well as the Caucasian, as well as the Latino, as well as the Indian, as well as everybody else. All that together collectively, they make up that LGBT community. So how could we separate?
Well, that was my whole point. That is exactly what Toussaint said.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a bunch to do about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there were a couple of things that, one, they should be afforded, like I said, was low hanging fruit in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage, that was one. I'm more interested in the only issue I have with them is one once they want to compel the church to go along with their way of life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ultimate attack, is to force the church
Mm-hmm.
to recognize their marriages. I will stand against them on that. But that's the only thing. They've been a part of a man ain't never been stopped from doing something because he was gay. Guess how I get to be in your community? If me and you got together and hooked up and screwed one another, guess what? Now we are part of their community. Big deal. Big deal. They wasn't kicking your head in because you was gay. They was kicking your head in because you was black. And gay people are a part of every community.
Yes.
You got Africans talking about, well, it don't exist in Africa. And yes, it does exist in Africa. It exists in every religion, just about, and every culture. They have been afforded the ability to compare their struggle to the civil rights struggle because black gays were a part of the struggle. And despite the fact that they were black, these men and women gave all they could to the movement of black people progressing forward. So we can stop all this foolishness about them being ostracized and treated this way. There are incidents where people are attacked because they're gay. But there ain't no laws on the books against where they could live, where they could sit, and what they could do.
Yeah.
You can protect. They even fight for instance, sodomy, for instance. Remember, that in some places that's still against the law, I believe. But if they broke into your house at night and you was laid up in there with a man, that would be against the law. See, we have to change things like that. But this big notion that they somehow have been treated unfairly or unjustly is ridiculous. It's for show. Some of them have trouble with how they feel about themselves. But they ain't never been told to go around the back to get your food because you gay. So miss me with all that. Y'all can pretend and, well, I don't want to say nothing about them. To hell with them too. I'm not going to say nothing about them. Why not? They going to say something about you.
Sure will. Absolutely.
So if you want to fight, let's fight. I'm used to fighting. But if you want to love one another, let's love one another and move ahead and quit being petty. You arguing about how you like to get bent over at night. Miss me with that, man.
Wow. We got Rico with us. Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. Grand risings there, everybody. I see
you getting it in this morning.
Always.
Yes, sir. We're talking about are we assertive enough in our community, man? And it's coming from what Dave Chappelle said. He said that a lot of times and he wasn't trying to be negative toward the LGBT community. I don't think that was where he was coming from, but he did say that if you say something about that community, there's gonna be an uproar, there's gonna be some pushback, and you got to answer for that, and to different levels. But he said if you say the same thing about the black community, you almost and he said again, I have to say this, he didn't paint with a big brush. He didn't say everybody. He said there's some people in our community that's really gonna fight, and they're gonna fight. But he said as a whole, you almost gonna hear crickets, and there's gonna be nothing. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's true, because society has adapted and adjusted or conformed to a certain stereotype that fits us, and we condone it ourselves. You know, I can remember being in communities or being in atmospheres where some of my people told me that I was supposed to act like a nigga.
Good Lord.
You know what I'm saying? What that means is you're supposed to be about the shucking and the jiving. You're supposed to be disruptive, especially if it's in an atmosphere that ain't hood or cool or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so we actually embrace that stereotype and then put the image out there ourselves. And so he really is standing up and saying, because we don't realize sometimes that we're actually condoning or promoting an agenda that's negative towards how we're viewed. But other races, they don't give you one chance to slip up or get slick and say something that might be looked at as detrimental. They jump on you real quick. Us, we'll sit back and look at WAP. We got women, our sisters, that will say that is women empowerment. You get what I'm saying? So when you really listen to Dave Chappelle's message, and he went on a little further and he told more about this transsexual friend, a transgender friend that he had that killed himself, how much they had become friends. And this friend stood up for him one other time. This ain't the first time that they done came after Dave, but it's just funny that they using black community to do that. You know, so they trying to counsel Dave, but he told the truth. See, the thing is, some truth is brutal, but it needs to be heard. Yeah. And when you listen to what that man said, the truth ain't nothing but the truth all day, even in heaven. When he said that man killed somebody, the baby killed somebody in Walmart, he raps about it and brags about it. And then he still did not get counsel for taking another human being life. Black people stood up and said, come on, the baby, entertain us. But the minute he said something about if any men in the crowd that didn't do any homosexual activity in the parking lot before we came in the building, just raise your hand or stand up. Oh, we gonna counsel him because he said he don't support men sucking on each other. But what about him bragging and rapping repeatedly about killing somebody? How about Gucci Mane getting a respect and street credibility because he killed Pookie Loke? He made song about it. He ain't been counseled yet. Disrespectful. This man's son is still out here today mad that the general public, black community, accepts these rappers. Now, don't get me wrong. We don't give them the platform. There are other more powerful Jewish people that play the same card as the gay people play. They play the same. It's the same tactic, the same game plan.
Yes, sir.
That the Jews use. If you say one little thing about a Jew, look, I might get kicked off of Verizon right now just for saying that. Just for saying that, man, you wouldn't believe all the times I've been suspended off of social media just for making plain facts about Jews. So, I mean, you know, it's the same thing. It's that council culture. And what it is before we get mad, we need to start learning the game plan and learning how to organize and become structured like them. That's another thing he said, too. I ain't jealous. I'm not mad at y'all. I don't hate y'all. I'm jealous of y'all. And I am, too. I've been saying this for 2 decades. Why is it that we can't get together and stand together and fight like Jews and white people and gays and Chinese? I mean, they stick together. Why is it? And when I started asking those questions 2 decades ago, I started digging more and more into why we are so dysfunctional. And it's a huge book to write on that. Yeah. But we got to start looking at it, trying to write that book and understand it by listening to what he said instead of persecuting him or trying to defend him. Just listen to what he said. And if he said it's the truth, accept it and then work on it. Make a solution for it. You know, let's start building a different value system in our communities so we don't have to look at other people stand up and fight for their rights while we just sit on our hands and say, we'll just pray about it.
Exactly. Let me go to Cassandra. Then we got another caller. I'm coming to you next. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, you know, I it goes right back to what I was saying. We don't stand together like we should. I mean, the changes that could be made in this country if we would just come together and unite as a people. I mean, you know, you got everybody got something to say, but ain't nobody doing nothing.
Yes.
That's just my big thing. That's why I don't want to just talk about it. What the kids say, I want to be about it.
Yes,
I don't. So I do that every day. I'm fighting for someone or something that I believe in, and I believe until we get the mentality that if we want things to change for our communities, We are going to have to be the change agents.
Mm-hmm.
I love what Leonard does. Leonard gets out there and he works on the projects that he has, he believes in. He works on those projects
Mm-hmm.
so that there can be change. But if you just talking, ain't nothing gonna happen. The same thing going on right now that you complaining about will be the same thing going on 20 years from now because you chose not to do anything about it. You don't want to go vote. You don't want to, I mean, what the heck? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Exactly. Exactly. And stick to get said and he just said something too. He said preach. He said preach, Cassandra. But he said while you was talking, he said you got to get off the bus. And I think that he was commenting on something Rico said. So you got to get off the bus and walk. Get off the bus and walk. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Told you with a T.
I don't know. I see me. Yes, I thought that's what you was talking about. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing good. Man, we got a lot going on this morning, man. This is Black Conversation. So what's on your heart about what we're talking about right now?
Oh, man.
Today
as usual, so much truth. I didn't really get a chance to pay attention to that last comment, but the direction, I think I'm there, but no, sis is right.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do the work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't want to do the work anymore. You know, we want to point out issues. We want to tell other people what needs to be done, what needs to be fixed, but we don't want to do the work.
Mm-hmm. Now,
that's just what that sounds like.
The Dave Chappelle has a point when he said that if you go after the LGBT community, there's going to be a huge pushback, and there's going to be some repercussions. But if you come after our community, there's going to be nothing. It's almost like crickets. Did he have a point when he said that?
Oh, absolutely. Because that's kind of like how each, I guess, little era. Because before the LGBTQ was the black people that was fighting for what was right. So they're next, but no, he's right. And that's what they've always done since they were recognized. That's like kind of the point. That's what makes you legit. You have to fight for whatever right that it is that you're seeking, or for whatever truth that you're seeking. And that's what they're doing. So that's to be expected. That's how they are. But yeah, that's absolutely it. That's with every classification that they want to put us in, that we got to do in order to be respected and looked at. We got to go. That's called the work.
Exactly. Brother Pete, you back with us?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's on your heart, brother?
I still go right back to the individual and collective responsibility, and that's all I'm hearing. The reasons, a lot of the reasons why we deal with the stuff that we deal with, it comes back to us individually and collectively. If it's an issue for us individually, then we can get together collectively and we can address it. And that's just what it is. I mean, we incur assaults all the time, okay? And we have responses all the time. But when in this society and kind of how the world is structured, we don't have that foundational base of power. And we're not using what we do, but we're not using it, okay, to flex our muscle, our strength, and then breathe on others and rein them back into check. We can do the exact same thing all of those communities are doing. We can roll just like the LGBTQ community as a community, but that's on us as individuals,
yes, sir,
and a collective to do that. It's just that simple. You don't want to tolerate this, don't tolerate it. You don't want to accept it, don't accept it. You want this to improve, then put your energy there, put your efforts there, put your professionals there, your most educated, your most well-equipped, and put your money behind it, and you'll get it. That's how it goes. Withdraw your support. Withdraw your support from these entities and see what happens. You don't have to, get approval or nothing. You can stop a whole bunch and start a whole bunch more. It's all on us individually being responsible, aware, putting forth some effort first, and then getting with others and that's the collective. And now we're on what we call the forward strong path.
It's good. That's good. Kurt, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart? Kurt, you there?
Yeah, I'm here right here.
What's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I mean, when you think in terms of that community, right? And you think in terms of the things, you know, I was sitting here listening to everybody, and you know, one of the things that I pay attention to, for real, bro, is being honest and truthful, Raheem. That community is really the melting pot of America. When you realistically think about it, because I can't remember who it was. I think it was Cassandra that said it. But when you really think about it, that community encompasses every single race and or culture, ethnicity in our country. Right? And I'm like, you know what? That's what it is. Then that's what it is. You know, when you talk about our fight, honestly, our fight is their fight. You know, when you talk about the diaspora of that lifestyle, listen, man. Sometimes it's crazy that the things
Kurt,
let wait.
Kurt, hold on for a second. Kurt, hold on for a second.
Say something that's going to wait.
Hold on. Before you go, hold on, Kurt, hold on. Before you go there,
really
Kurt, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Kurt?
Okay.
Before you go there, explain to me, Kurt. I don't know if you can hear me, but explain.
A lot of people don't want to admit it.
Kurt, can you hear me?
But the greatest man that they follow, I don't have to say his name.
Hey, Kurt, you can't hear me, brother.
I even hate the fact that I share a birthday with this man.
Kurt, can you hear? Kurt, can you hear?
It's suspected to be of the LGBTQ community.
Can Kurt not hear what we saying, man?
Listen, historically,
Kurt
when
got some kind of muffler going on. He can't.
3 of them in charge.
Kurt, I'm gonna mute you for a minute, brother. I'm gonna mute you for a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna mute you because you can't hear what we're saying. Hold on. Rico, go ahead, brother. What's on your heart?
I gotta get my mind back right on that one now, man. I'm trying to think, where was I headed with this one, man? Oh my goodness, I lost my whole train of thought on that, man. Well, I mean, you know, we get, I mean, just going back to what Dave Chappelle was saying, and so sort of going off of what Curtis was saying. I ain't gonna go all the way down that road because I don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Their fight is our fight, because our fight was totally different. And then the reason why I'm gonna say that, this is gonna sort of put me back on track. You remember when I was doing the show on your platform, I had AIDS, update about AIDS, and the guy that was on now, he's a gay guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how his situation turned out like that because he has children. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's the lifestyle that he lives now. But he has a lot of platforms. You know, a lot of pull. You know, he's very active in the community as far as activism, period, Black and LGBTQ. And I look at some of the discussions that he have, just peeking in to see, you know what I'm saying, how they relate to each other. And there is still racism in that community. And he exposes it. He'll call them out, man, and some of the white ones, they'll sit there and they'll agree. I listen to him because, like I said, I just want to see, you know, how they communicate, how they get down. And I hear him bring that up a lot of times about how racism exists in the homosexual or the LGBTQ community. So when you look at that, and then you go back and think about what Curtis said, their fight is not our fight because they still have the race issue in their community. They still have those disparities, just like with women's suffrage. Just like with the Jews, when the Jews came in and they latched in with our movement, women's suffrage, they only use us as ammo. They only use us as ammo. So when it comes to the gay community, yeah, it might seem like they're all inclusive in this and that, but when you listen to one of them say that, you know what, man, it's still some bias. There's still a race issue, even in the LGBTQ community. It makes you go back and realize what not only Dave was saying, but so many other people. We are always going to be Black first. It don't matter if you're rich. It don't matter if you're poor. I done said this plenty of time before. You could be rich and get pulled over in a redneck town and don't nobody know you're a professional athlete or a team owner, and you just be under their boots.
Yeah.
They care less about your money. They just see your black skin. You know, and so like I said this earlier about the stereotypes. You know, we embrace and we promote certain people that really reflect on us in a very negative way. It says a lot about our values. You see, just because the record executives put certain people out there don't mean we have to support them. But see, we make it cool for people to go and do what they do because it makes them successful. It makes them have money. And then we'll go back and say, well, it's the parents' fault. Lil Nas X to do what he want to do. He ain't got to care about your kids. Well, okay, if he ain't supposed to care about our kids, why somebody gonna care about our black tails?
Exactly. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
You know, I'm just listening to the various points of view. You know, one thing I don't get involved with too much is, you know, when how do you say? I mean, I don't ran out of words for it. You know, I call it "woe is the Negro." Ain't nobody gonna take away y'all first place in suffering. It is not up for grabs. It ain't a contest. I'm black regardless of what I'm doing. It does not matter what I do. I am a black man.
Yeah.
And that in itself is just a social construct. I fight I fight against injustice. Not because I want you to accept me. Not because I want you to be my friend. I just want you to leave me the hell alone and stop treating me like an animal. That's it. I fight right next to gay people. I know a lot of gay people fight right next to me doing the same thing. I've had behind closed doors situations with the LGBT community. You know, I'm very assertive with them because I don't have to like you.
Yeah.
But trust me, if someone attacked you because of that, I'd be the first person to fight for you.
Exactly.
So don't act different. You know how they do. See, a lot of them be gay when it's convenient. See, but when I walk into the bank, I'm black. When I walk into the mortgage company, I'm black.
Yes.
Everywhere I'm going, I'm black. You decide who you want to let know you gay. A lot of folks, you can work with them 20, 30 years and never know their personal life. I ain't never had an issue with them, but they have tried to find issue with me, and then I have to bring them behind closed doors and shut them down completely. Don't you get it twisted ever. I'm hood for life, man. Don't come at me with no BS about this, that, and the other and try to create something that ain't really going down like that. Now, I know you can walk out of here and you can say what you want to say to get attention. But the truth of the matter is you're wrong.
Exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. That's the phone number. You could call and give us your opinion as to what you're thinking about, what we're talking about, whether you agree, disagree, or whatever the case. The phone lines are open. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Toya with a T. Talk to me, sis. What's on your heart? Toya?
Yeah, no, I'm just listening, man. Y'all got to keep it going. I got to get in a good way before I say something because y'all on it.
Absolutely. Cassandra, what's on your heart, sis?
Yeah, I just I'm with Leonard. I'm not caring about somebody liking me. My fight is against injustice and inequality for me. Those are the things that I'm fighting for. And the fact of whether you like a black person, I don't care one way or the other. But you're gonna treat me with the respect that and it's up to you, because respect is something. If you don't want to give it to me, that's fine. But you are gonna treat me justly and fairly. And I guess everybody knows that my nephew was killed in South Carolina, made national news because of his mental illness, schizophrenic. And my Ben Crump was going to is going to Charleston to do a rally on behalf of my nephew, and my sister contacted me and said, "Hey, I want you to come down and be a part of it." And I was like, "You know what? I can't come." And I think she was sort of shocked, because of who I guess Ben Crump is, as far as his fight, whatever. But I don't care about anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm standing for, it ain't got nothing to do with personalities. I don't give a dang who you are. I'm fighting for a change for my nephew and for other family members. My nephew is dead, but there are other family members that are being that may go through the same thing that we went through with the death of my nephew. Because of his skin color, it's basically because of the stereotype. He was a big black man. That's it. And that's what I'm fighting for. So my fight is going to be about justice and equality.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Brother Pete, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
What changed? And 70, 50 years ago, they were in the closet. Today it's acceptable. So what changed? What was the change? Society as a whole changed its perspective, the powers that be, whatever. Now it's not, it doesn't have to be in the closet or in the background. It can come out in the open and it's acceptable. Okay, now how has that affected different ones' lives? It could be a debate or a conversation, an issue raised. It's changing the moral compass and, these type of things. But what people are doing in their privacy, how is that affecting you? Right now, what I'm saying again, the issue could be raised or a conversation could be started on the lines of, well, is it changing the moral compass? We're accepting behavior that's unbecoming or whatever. Someone might want to come from that angle, right? That issue could be raised, but at the same time, I'm not in your bedroom. I'm not going in your bedroom. I'm not participating in the behavior. I'm not participating in theft. I'm not participating in larceny, lies. I'm not participating in murder. I'm not participating in hate. I'm not participating. You see what I'm saying? I'm not at the party. I'm not invited. I'm not coming. So I'm saying, what is it? What is the issue for me? What is the real issue? So on one hand, you might lick toes and all the holes, right? And the armpits and everything. Whose business is that other than yours and who you doing it with?
Yeah.
So, we just have to get some clarity. And then at the same time, you can see a brother walking down the street, 50 years old, with a tight shirt on and got breasts, his chest is undeveloped, his stomach is fat, and he's balding and he's trying to hold on to what's left. And you look at him and it might hit you as being comical. You may make a statement about it. You may make a statement to yourself and start laughing, not to offend the person, just hit you as being comical.
Yeah.
Well, you might see a man walking around in a dress, look like he could be on the front line of the NFL team, and clearly this is a dude, but he walking around with some high heel women's shoes on and a tight dress and whatever. And you look and you see they got a wig that's half hanging off his head or something. You say, what is that? And that might hit you as being comical.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. All these soft feelings and pulling up with all these irrelevant perspectives and opinions and raising issues up out of nothing. Anybody, you're not entertaining this nonsense. Go on, do what you do. Go on, do what you're doing. It's not an issue. If it's funny, it's funny. If it's not, it's not. You may have dark circles around your eyes, and that's just your complexion, how you were born, and just how you look. And your friends may call you a raccoon or something. They tease you every time they see you. They love you. They don't mean you no harm. But every time y'all get together and hang out, hey, how you doing? How's the family? Good to see you. 15 minutes shooting the breeze, and they talk about you looking like a raccoon. What's the problem? It's funny. They're gonna laugh at it. So come on now.
Exactly.
We got time for all this superficial political correctness and babying people with stuff. Grow up. It is what it is. So just accept it.
And
Caitlyn Jenner was Bruce Jenner. Now he's Caitlyn Jenner. But then he says, "I'm a proud dad," but you're living as a woman. I mean, that's his business. That's his business.
Yeah.
Well, now if I was in a conversation with him and he said to me, "I'm a proud dad," I would probably look at him like, "Okay, gotcha."
Yeah. You just roll right past that, brother. Sometimes you gotta roll right past it and leave it right there where it is. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Truth of the matter, nobody knows where the nose goes when the doors close. And so everybody say what they want to say, but nobody know where the nose goes when them doors close. Kirk, what's on your heart, brother? Kirk, you there?
Hold on. Come back to me, Ryan.
All right, good deal. Rico, talk to me, brother. I don't know, Rico. He got the look on his face right now. I don't know, man. What's on your heart?
Man, I'm just thinking about when he said that, man. Cause I swear, it's some dudes I see in dresses, man. Have you ever seen a tomboy? You know what I'm saying? A woman with male traits trying to walk in high heel shoes for the first time. Man, I done seen some men with some ugly legs wearing them dresses, trying to wear them shoes and with them dresses on, man. They try their best to play it off as natural as possible. And I die laughing, man. I try my best not to do it in the faces. Sometimes I just walk out the store, man. I'm like, man, I can't take it. Hilarious. So when he said that, man, I just thought about that. I was like, man, I swear I laugh every time, man. But now sometimes I see some stuff that make my stomach turn. Like when I go to Leonard Square Mall, and I see those young men with big BBLs wearing yoga pants and tights, butts bigger than Buffy the Body. Disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting. You know, I'm gonna tell you something too. If y'all ever get a chance, go and look at that that DVD Book Breaking. I finally got a good stream of it yesterday, man. And I knew about a lot of what was going on, but then I found out a lot more about different places like Johns Hopkins that was promoting and advertising to black men to have the first sex changes. They performed the first one and it was on a black man. And they kept promoting it to black men free. I was wondering where these people in the late 70s and early 80s were getting these sex changes from, and they were going to New York or wherever, or Baltimore. I can't remember where they were going. Free sex changes. So that butt breaking is big, but you know, we spend a lot of time talking about the LGBTQ, what they're doing, and Pete said something big. You know, and he said something about privacy. Whose business is it? I agree, as long as it's two consenting adults.
Yeah.
See, some things go on in private, ain't got nothing to do with people that's consenting. So then it becomes our business. It should be. So, you know, we you know, I'm gonna make sure that we don't always stick to this mind the business to pay you mindset, because sometimes, you know, what does happen in somebody's privacy is their business. Now, if you bring it out like Bruce Jenner, you make it public. Yeah, I'm a proud father. Look at me in my dress. Then yeah, you just put it out there for the public to speak on it. But you can actually do a lot of stuff in private and won't nobody know. You can be gay as you want to in private. Won't nobody know. I mean, I imagine somebody coming up to you and say, "Hey, are you American? Hey, are you from Alabama? Are you from Florida? Hey, are you black?"
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Ain't no getting away from that. So, you know, we you know, when we start talking about public and private, some things that those people do, they choose to live that lifestyle. They choose to put it out there for it to be addressed because they flaunt it. You know, you can easily do a lot of things in the privacy of your own home. But even with that being said, we still missing a bigger issue. The bigger issue is why is it that we can't get on the same page and fight for the same progress or the same rights, for the same justice. Why are we too busy saying, look at them, y'all? They stealing our momentum. Well, it's hard for somebody to steal your momentum if you're moving correctly. So we still got to ask, where are we messing up? How did other people keep coming in, joining our movements, and then getting all the progress they want, and then we still stuck in the same place? We got to question our value system, individually and as a group. Because if you got too many people that got the same, with too many different individual goals, values, and beliefs, then no, we'll never get on the same page. And one thing you can say, with LGBTQ, with Jews, and even with white supremacists, you got 1,001, 10,001 different races, white supremacist organizations. But you can get all of them together in one place for one common goal if they need to.
Exactly. Leonard, talk to me, brother. Why is there such a divide in our community?
Well, first of all, I ain't one that agree that there's a divide. That's one. I don't even know what it is y'all trying to do. I don't know what they got that you ain't got. I mean, I don't understand the whole. Well, what's the issue? I think there are a lot of black people that just love to being just as petty as gay people. It's easy to come together around what they're doing. They don't need nothing. What do they want that they don't have? What? Name something. One thing. You can't. Their fight has nothing to do with the fight of African Americans. What are they fighting for? What do you know what they're fighting for? Or are you mad because they're getting attention? You know, pick one. I mean, it don't matter to me which one y'all pick.
Hey, they fight for people to stop hurting their feelings.
Basically, I mean, it ain't about nothing solid. It ain't about infrastructure. It ain't about systemic issues that have existed since they don't made black almost being illegal or something wrong with being black. Guess what? George Floyd could have been gay. He just could have been gay. That don't change how I feel about it. It still was injustice. They did it to him because he was black.
Leonard, you said something earlier. It might have been you. It might have been Rick. I can't remember actually who said it. So forgive me for that. But it's like if they want to get married, they can't. I think it was Donna that said it. They can't go to certain individuals and get married. That may be one of the fights that we're talking about right now.
I've always said that the agenda of the LGBT community really doesn't have a lot to do with, so to speak, society or governmental issues. They want to force the church to bow down to their sexual preference. I believe, excuse me, that is the agenda.
Okay.
Because for the very simple fact that I would I would not even be a member of a church that married gay people.
Okay.
Gay people want holy matrimony. They want to force the church to bend their rules to their preference. I'll give you everything else but that.
Okay.
Because you're going against someone's religion. You're violating their religion and their religious standards. Even if I was gay and I wanted to be married, I would go get married down at the courthouse. And if I wanted another ceremony around like-minded people, I would do that. But I wouldn't bring a lawsuit against a bishop for refusing to perform my marriage.
Cassandra, what do you say to that, Cassandra? Cassandra? Okay. Okay, we may have lost Cassandra there for a second. Brother Pete, talk to me, brother. What do you say about that?
What Leonard just said,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Leonard, now we getting down to where the rubber meets the road.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just touched on something serious because this is where the issue of the LGBTQ is coming up to the forefront. Okay, what I mean is this.
Hey, Brother Pete, talking to your phone, brother. There you go. There you
Yes,
go.
sir. What I mean is this. A man and a woman get together and make a child.
Mm-hmm.
If they have some sort of a union, togetherness, partnership, committed friendship, marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then that's the foundational structure of a family. Okay, that's just what it is. Now there is no continuation in that sense from same sex. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can make it work, alternative means, artificial, have somebody, meet and make it happen, male to female, female to male, whichever the situation is. But that's going outside of just what the normal or the upfront obvious. Upfront obvious. I'm gonna use that more so than normal structure would be.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is where it becomes an issue because I don't necessarily have an issue with you. But now when you're starting to try to cram your personal perspective down somebody's throat, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's where it starts becoming a problem. And it's not just gay. We'll take the old adage of white supremacy, right? You're not about to cram that down my throat. I'm not less than you because of the hue of my skin. Not accepting that. Not accepting that at all.
Exactly.
So again, that's where it started getting real hairy because it's not even really about the church. It is about the church as far as in principle and subject matter in the assault. But I'm saying the real existence of this issue, it's not even just about the spirituality so much of just naturally what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you want a child, that's a man and a woman. Now you're doing the impossible.
Okay, Pete, let me throw some in, Pete.
You a homosexual. I'm gonna get to it and get out the way. But
no.
You're a homosexual, and your preference is homosexual, but then you want to have a child. That don't make sense.
Exactly. But Pete, let me throw this in.
That ain't making sense.
Let me throw this in. I want you to comment on this right here as well, Pete. What do you say? Because I'm certainly not a part of the LGBT community, but what do you say to the people that say, well, because we're talking about the marriage situation, that two people want to get married, and I don't know how they feel about this. Hopefully, a person that's a part of this community could call in and voice their opinion as to what they think about it. But what do you say to the people that say, well, we're just two people that's in love and we want to get married just like everybody else? Everybody else want to get married when they find their loved one, their significant other or whatever. What do you say to them that say, we just want to get married just like everybody else in the same situation that everybody else get? Are they off base when they say that? Because Leonard said that he wouldn't want to go to a church where they perform those ceremonies. So are they
right?
Go ahead.
Well, see, from a spiritual aspect, from the foundational principles in the structure of spirituality, right? Depending on what your spirituality is, that's not acceptable. Right?
Okay.
They following standard norms mostly. Okay. Now, if two people of the same want to be in a union together, in one sense, where did marriage come from? As we articulated it, blah 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 blah. That's an issue. On the other hand, it's political in society. Okay, and it's a business agreement, right? So if they want to come together, then who are we to stop them from coming together?
Yeah.
Now, if the standard of the society says marriage, right? Then that's where we're having an issue. But as far as not allowing them to be together, they're gonna be together anyway. So I mean, how you gonna stop it? Yeah. Whether you let them get married or not, they're gonna be in a union. So it's kind of an oxymoron. But then we get into the morality part of it, and that's where we start having, we have to have these debates and conversations and articulate it, and here arises the issues. But we can't stop them if that's what they want to do. They want to be in a union together. Now they want to attack You talking about the Bible and God and all of this and blah blah blah, but that same Bible said you got the right to do what you want to do. The same Bible said, hey, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
God said you got free will. You can swing from a vine if you want to. You can care less.
It's
Right?
your thing.
Do what you do.
Do what you
So
want to
at
do.
the same time, it's somewhat a spiritual issue, and then it's also somewhat a natural issue. But we can't stop them from being in a union. But what I'm saying is, if society says, okay, well, we're going to allow them to go to the technical step of saying they're married, right? But then that might be a societal issue, and it somewhat involves churches. And if a church doesn't agree, then certainly that church is not going to participate in allowing that union. And that's that church's right to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't force them to do it. But at the same time, we'll go further. If they want to adopt children, children need to be adopted. I mean, are we to stop them from adopting children? Are we to allow them to adopt children? That again, here we go with all these issues, right?
That's good.
Why do we have all these extra issues? I mean, in the first place, why do we have all these issues? Because my thing, I started looking at stuff when you come with the impossible.
Yeah.
Look, man, if we're gonna give everybody what they want, I've always said when it comes to that particular issue with this particular community and regarding them having children and all of that. Look, if you can't have children on your own with what you're doing of your own situation, then how are we to just make the impossible possible? If we're gonna start making the impossible possible, then hey, I was born a billionaire. I want y'all to know that. I have not received my check. So I want all of y'all to fight for me to get my check.
Yeah.
So I can cash. Right?
Exactly.
Then I will grab the rainbow flag with all of the letters on it, and I will lead your fight for y'all, okay, to get what you want. But help me get what I want, since we're giving everybody what they want. Now, if you're not willing to help me get what I want, because this is what I want, because we're fighting for stuff that you want, man, miss me.
Exactly.
And it's not just because we talking about homosexuality. I'm talking about the nonsensicalness of impossibility. And you trying to come with the possible of the impossible and making it possible because it's what you want. Well, let's do that for everybody then. This dude a psychopath. He like to kill people. He just had his urge to come to him, every 7 days, and he just got to cut somebody's head off. I mean, but he can't help it because he was born this way. So we gonna let him kill people? Make sure he ain't nowhere around me. I mean, I want to try to live a ripe old age. We're gonna just make the impossible possible. So this is where this conversation goes sideways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It goes sideways. So, come on. If you want to be in the same sex relationship, who cares? Y'all want to be together with each other? Fine. You want to have the right to have life insurance and health benefits and all that. Why can't you? Y'all together. I mean, if you got a job and you can put your mate on your insurance, put your mate on your insurance.
Yeah. Exactly.
But if I don't allow you to come to my church because I don't agree with that, that's my right too. And you can't force me to accept what you want.
Yeah.
It don't work like that.
Exactly. Toya with a T, what's on your heart, sis? Talk to me. Toya with a T. Oh, she might have had to step away for a second. Rico, what do you say to that, brother? They want to get married like everybody else. They want to have the same freedoms to go into that church and have their significant other and be married in front of the God and the world, just like everybody else. Rico, what do you say to that?
Well, that goes back to you trying to force yourself to be accepted into something that doesn't accept your ideology or your behavior. And then you know what? I've been asking this question too, like Pete asked earlier. How did we get to this point? There's a lot of things going on in society when you ask yourself, how did we get to this point? Because at one point in time, it was not acceptable. It wasn't acceptable publicly. It just wasn't a good thing to do. It wasn't cool to be a dope dealer. It wasn't cool to be a pimp. You were looked at as a no good person. It wasn't good to be a whore. It wasn't good to be a stripper. That wasn't a desirable career. Now you got people that want to strip. They want to be, not only do they want to strip, they want to be just like other strippers.
Yeah.
You got people that want to be porn stars. I mean, you know, something has gone wrong where deviant behavior has become a desire and acceptable. So now I look at people that say, well, you know what, man, I know they don't believe in homosexual behavior in the church, but you know what? I think I want to go to church and do what I do anyway. And if they kick me out, I'm going to get mad. Well, can you imagine me going to a Ku Klux Klan meeting and say, hey, man, I want to wear a green robe. Let me in. What kind of inclusion is that? I mean, you know, why would you want to be included in something that doesn't want you to belong to it or doesn't accept your behavior? So, you know, we have to ask ourselves these questions. You know, how did we get to this point? But then if you want to dive on down a little further back, how did the Black community get to this point to where we didn't counsel rappers that bragged about killing other Black men, but we let the gay community come in and counsel them? See, that's still, to me, we addressing a whole bunch of homosexuality and ain't nobody on here homosexual.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But the thing is they have come in and decided. I mean, the thing, ask yourself this question. If it wasn't acceptable and their lifestyle wasn't acceptable, how did they get all this power? How did they get all this persuasion and this influence now? What has happened in society, in this world? It had to be, number one, it had to be a plan. It had to be some type of sinister plan to where psychologically somebody said, well, you know what, man, we're going to start allowing these things to happen. Because we studied people and humans and animals enough to know that if we allow this influence, then this other influence will start diminishing. So I mean, if we look at that, we have to actually think, was this a conspiracy? Was this like a plan amongst people that were in higher places than we are? Because none of this behavior was acceptable in the past, but all of a sudden now it is. And here there are Black people in the same place. We don't even control our culture. We're letting other people, these people have rapped about killing other people. They call women the B word left and right. I was one of them. We listen to Luke Skywalker, Too Short, all that. We listen to all this. We know what happened. We know how that became acceptable. But why is it now that they are able to counsel these rappers when you have people in the community that have tried to counsel these rappers for talking about Black on Black crime and they couldn't get a leg up? Well, you got see the Lord, and I love Tupac. But see, Dolores Tucker was trying to get Tupac banned.
Yeah. Yep.
She didn't want Tupac out there. I mean, and you know, I sort of understood where she was coming from. But now look at what's going on. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. The Black community said no. Mainstream community said no. But now here it is. We got rappers that sit back and brag about smoking other dead people.
Yep.
And nobody counseled them. These young men, these young men have mothers that have been crying and pleading with these other rappers. Look, stop disrespecting me like that. Y'all talking about my son. Please, y'all won't even let me mourn. Y'all celebrating, and the world listening to it and entertaining it. But just as soon as Dave Chappelle or the baby say, shout out to everybody that's heterosexual, cancel. And we just sitting back watching it happen. So we got bigger questions to ask. I don't even think we ought to be addressing nothing to do with no homosexual. We need to be addressing how we letting other people control our culture. And then we won't stand up on our own 2 feet and counsel people when they have been morally out of place.
Exactly. I'm going to read something. I'm going to go to Captain Leonard. This is 2 Timothy, or like your ex-president say, Timothy 2, 2 Timothy 3. And it says, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parent, unthankful, unholy. I'm going to stop at number 3. This is the third one right here. Without natural affections, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Leonard, is that telling us about what's going on right now?
Well, you know, I mean, that's been going on for quite a while.
Yeah.
I've read Shakespearean plays where one person is the king And there's a matter of fact, it's like if you were, it was an audition piece, and there was a king. He was riding with one of his quote confidants, his advisors, and their whole conversation on this ride was about their sexual relationship that had to be secret because of this guy being the king. And the advisor constantly told him that their relationship is not worth him being king. Trust me, the bigger picture is you being king, not the relation that sexual relationship. And so that's what that conversation was about on that coach ride. And this is what we have to understand. Some people hate people because they're gay. And those people in positions of power sometimes chooses to use that power incorrectly. So we have to deal with that as a society because it violates other people's rights. Now, for black people to sit around and complain about what gay people are doing, what you want to do? Well, I'm just saying that's a problem. You ain't saying nothing worth nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so we have to get past this issue of some they got more than me. All they wanted to be, you could have been got married. They couldn't get married. You understand what I'm saying? You
Yes.
you you got people who, like I said before, are experts at making something out of nothing.
Yeah.
The whole movement itself that they have is so far away from the agenda of African Americans is absolutely ridiculous. Now, if you choose to value your sexual relationships
Now, Leonard,
more than your
do you think,
citizenship, that's
hey,
an
Leonard,
issue.
Leonard, do you think that there was a point in the time where they was trying to tie in the LGBT community with the civil rights movement and try to,
Yes,
okay.
because you have to understand the civil rights movement was led by a black man,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a civil rights movement for the majority of America.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We are the ones that said that people should not be discriminated against them because of their race, because of their gender. We put those issues on the table.
Mm-hmm.
But just like every other little disrespectful child, you choose to try to push the homosexual agenda before the main agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
figure it out for yourself, just like Rico was saying. There's a whole group of white gay congressmen, Republicans, and everybody else. They still just as wicked as their forefathers, and they're just as gay as they can be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they
Yeah.
will stick together to oppress other people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you black people looking for the power to oppress other people? Or are you looking for people to exercise freedom? Or are
Leonard,
you
you
about
asked the question.
freedom?
Leonard, you asked the question about a year. I think it was about a year ago. You asked the question, and you said that it was posed some similar, and you could correct me out as to how you verbalized it. But you say if you are the kind of person that if asked would you have slaves and you say yes, then you're not the kind of person that I want to deal with
No,
or be a
exactly.
part
Okay, I
of.
know what you're referring to now. It's like most
Mm-hmm.
black people ain't anti-slavery. They just don't want to be slaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's filthy in its own right.
Mm-hmm.
You're not against slavery.
Mm-hmm.
You're against black people being slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Like with rap, people always use rap music. It would be different if those people were lying.
Mm-hmm.
Rappers were allowed to say what they were saying because that was their lives. That was how they were living.
Mm-hmm.
What did it look like me rapping about how you live?
Can't do it.
That's fake.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I was able to say what I want to say because that's how I'm living. This is real life. This is what I went through. I'm telling you my story.
Mm-hmm.
So why censor my story
Mm-hmm.
just
Wow.
because you don't like it?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
that whole comparison between rap music and this other thing. Well, why was rappers get to say what they want? Because that's their life. That's
Mm-hmm.
why they can say what they want. Because that's their life. And they
Exactly.
have the right
Exactly.
to express themselves. Now, are we going to take that right from everybody or just black people?
Mm. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. That's the call in number. Give us a call. We love to have your input. Lynn, good morning to you. MJ, good morning. Zachary, good morning. Ricky, good morning. Thick, good morning. MJ, there's a lot of people. I'm sorry I don't think get an opportunity to reach out and acknowledge each and every one of you. But what we're talking about today, are we as a community, are we advancing as we should? Because Dave Chappelle says something, and he said that the LGBT community, if somebody were to say something about that particular community, they would rally together, and there will be some pushback, and there will be some pushback, and the person would have to come back and make it right, if you will. But he said that in our community, in the black community, is not the same thing. So is there factual what he said? Is there some truth in what he said? Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
It's very true because they just came back at him again for saying that.
Yes.
And if you go back and listen to that whole or watch that whole stand-up routine, he isn't really that disrespectful. I don't even say he isn't disrespectful at all. He's humorous.
Mm-hmm,
He
mm-hmm.
isn't disrespectful at all. He spoke the truth. You know what I'm saying? Now this is the thing about comedians. That is a punchline too. Sometimes for them to say God's honest truth. That's
Mm-hmm.
part of them selling the routine, but sometimes it ain't true. Just so happened that was a true story last night that he told about the transgender friend that he had. But
Mm-hmm.
it was also true what he said about being counseled.
Yeah.
He just mentioned, if you really think about what he did, he just made a point. Man, look, this man said something about the LGBTQ and he got canceled off all these shows, but he killed somebody in Walmart,
Yeah.
another black man, and he still raps about it and people praise him. Didn't nobody counsel him for murder,
Mm-hmm.
taking another life. So we man, we need to look at that. We need to really just open our eyes, man. I mean, this was a siren, man. This was a siren. Look, man, the building on fire. Y'all ain't trying to run out the building yet. Y'all still laying in y'all beds. Look at what's going on. These
Mm-hmm.
people counsel this man because of their feelings. But the people that died, parents can't get them counsel.
Mm-hmm.
And then we making the conversation about the power of the homosexuals instead of trying to find out what we need to do to get our power together. When we gonna stand up for something of excellence and integrity, honor?
Do you think everybody and this is a wide open question, brother, and answer it the way you want to answer it. But do you think everybody in our community is really interested in us being to that point or to that place?
No, they're interested in them individually being
Mm-hmm.
at the point of successful.
Mm-hmm.
See, everybody is so bent on being superficially successful
Mm-hmm.
to the point to where the church is even bitten into it. The church talks more about prosperity now than they talk about family values.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
TV, media, you name it, man. I remember coming up, it was very big for family values to be pushed subconsciously through media, radio, you name it. If they could put it in your eyes, they knew that you would adapt to that and conform to that concept of a traditional family and having family values and virtues. Now it's about talking to the money.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's about being family. Now it's about going to Dominican Republic, getting your BBL so your husband will still look good and y'all can take pictures and look like Michelle and Obama, Michelle and Barack on steroids. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just, it's all about this image thing. It's about this vanity thing. The value system is so corrupted that, we don't even know which way we're going. And it goes back to what I say all the time. We're actually contributing to our own demise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Tori, you want to tee you back with us? Tori, you want to tee you back with us? Pete, talk to me, brother.
Exactly. The social narrative. So back in the day, the family structure fit the narrative for society. Today, in the age of depleting the population, family structure don't fit the narrative. So how much does social engineering have to play in all of this as well? Okay. My premise is, let's not look at the superficial stuff. If you got a problem with somebody being homosexual and they're not coming on to you, they're just living their life, then that's really your problem, and you need to leave them alone.
Yeah.
They just living their life. Ain't got nothing to do with you. They got the right to do what they want to do. They can live where they want to live, go where they want to go, work, and all of that. So what's the problem? And exactly, the original conversation was about us. This damaged group of people that need to focus on themselves and get their act together. There's no way that we can mount a complaint and march about others killing us, and we're not working to understand that we should not be cutting each other down. I heard a report that for the first time, we may hit 10,000 self-inflicted murders in a year this year. I believe it's like 800,000 babies aborted every year. That's you. That's what you doing.
Yeah.
There's nobody else. That's you. And now we have to move to stop abortion. And to the front to stop abortion. Well, why is that? Why is it all of a sudden on the front to stop abortion? So really just articulating the real subject matter. Why some of these things are being pushed out and up. Brother Lynn told you, homosexuality has been around ever since. This ain't new.
Yeah.
Same sex, whatever. That's been around ever since. So ain't none of this stuff new. If you just can see it more, it's out in the open more. It's always been there. So what's the big trip? If you have a high spiritual moral compass and you against it, then you against it.
Yeah.
If it's not an issue for you, then it's not an issue. But you certainly don't have the right to make your issue their problem.
Exactly.
Just like they don't have a right to make certain aspects of their preference your issue. Just like us as a people, ethnic people, we don't have a right to make certain aspects, us doing stuff that we shouldn't do, that's against our best interest, and that's on us. You be going talking to everybody else about what you're not doing. You need to get your act together.
Yeah. Exactly.
We know we're focused heavily on the criminal by the criminal justice system. We know that, right? But at the same time, you can't be fitting the narrative. I mean, don't tell me that they're praying heavily on you and you the drug dealer, gang leader, murderer, killer, rapist, terrorist, wrongdoer, wreaking all the havoc in the community, and then they come get you and you say, man, you're the white man. No, it's you.
Exactly.
Also, Raheem, I wanted to add, because the word cancel culture came up. Cancel culture is related to a completely different community. Cancel culture is for celebrities making money, and how what they say and what they do affect their money. Cancel culture ain't got nothing to do with me. I mean, that has nothing to do with me at all. And this is why I pointed out, you need to understand, first of all, the difference between community. Dave Chappelle's community don't include you when it comes to that.
Yeah.
That's the community he belongs to as a celebrity. And we're not talking about just as someone who has achieved a little bit of success in TV. No. This brother has won the Mark Twain Prize for what he does. So don't get his community confused with your community.
Yeah, totally different.
He happens to be black. But he's a part of a community that does not include you. And it has nothing to do with you. So just because he's speaking about that, don't mean he's talking about you.
It has nothing to do with you at all.
No.
At all. Exactly. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, Raheem. This is Sideria calling from Atlanta.
Sideria, good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm blessed, and you all?
Hey, blessed as well, sis. I think you've been listening in for a minute. What's on your heart about what we're talking about this morning?
Well, I don't want to. I came in more on the part when everybody was talking about homosexuality, but I think I missed the real topic of what everybody is speaking about.
Well,
So
we
I don't
really
know if I even
well you can actually
have something to say.
well you can actually, if you like, you can actually comment from that aspect. What we're talking about is what we're talking about as a whole is Dave Chappelle made a comment. Are we really motivating as we should as a community? Because Dave Chappelle said something about the LGBT, and he didn't say it in a negative way. I don't think he meant had any malice in his heart, but he was saying that the LGBT, if somebody says something about the LGBT community, there will be some pushback. There'll be rallies and all kind of things will be going on where they would have to recant or make it right. If they say the same thing about the black community, we don't come together and we don't push and we don't have the same motivation. Why is that? And it is what he said, is it factual? Is that truth?
I think there's an element of truth in the statement itself. Uh, just from living in the community and being black, I I would say that a lot of our lack of pushback is, as usual, over the years, we've seen where even when we push, we don't get the same kind of results as um, as a white community. We just don't. We're just now starting to see where we're getting results, not only with us killing one another, but with other people killing us, like, the police and things of that nature. We're just now getting to the point where we're getting those results. But then that's been happening for years, and we didn't get any results, even when we complained about it, even when we rallied together about it. And we've seen over the years, when our community rallies together, then it's a problem in the world. Hey, we're doing something wrong. But when even in white society, they don't really have to rally together, really, because of the power structure that they have in the world we live in. And as I think Rico said, it's so behind, and Leonard said, it's so behind the scenes and have been for so long. They've always pushed, they didn't have to push from the outside in. They pushed from the inside out. We, as a community, have not put ourselves in the position to push from the inside out. And those of us that have financial pull tend to cross over the line and disassociate with their own community. So then that takes away our dollar power, per se. I think the white community has a lot of dollar power too. So because of that, they get to push harder quietly.
Wow.
So I think what he said was relevant and had an element of truth on both sides. But I also think if we don't have the kind of leaders and we are not raising the kind of leaders who are willing to die for what we believe, we're not going to see that kind of push in our community.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
that's what it's going to take in our community. It's going to have to take where we're all come to the place where, okay, we're willing to die for this because we believe it.
Good deal.
And
Good deal.
if that be the case, so be it. Because that's what it's going to take for us to begin to push to the point where we receive the level of respect that the white community receives. And until we can cross that line, one of the ways is with, it's not going to ever be an equal, it's not going to ever be an equal fight.
Okay. All right, now, preacher. All right, now, preacher. We got to move on now, preacher. Hold on for me.
I'm finished.
Let me go back to Donald Toussaint. Donald Toussaint, good to have you back with us, man. I want to hear your take on it, because when you left, they was talking about the marriage situation. And Leonard said that he wouldn't want to be a part of a congregation, and rightfully so, man. That's the way he felt about it. if they're going to marry, do same-sex marriages. How do you feel about that, Toussaint?
I have to come to grips with some things being not compromised, because there are some things that I will never agree with, ever. Um, the thing, the church need all the help they can get. Not the church as a whole, because the church don't need no help.
Yeah.
Period. The let me say it like this: righteous living won't ever need any help. Period. And if a man don't stand for something, he'll fall for anything.
Yes, sir.
And what greater way to get things done is to claim that righteousness is wrong. Because we, as a society, would rather believe a liar than the truth. Even if we got to prove that God is wrong for the way he thinks, because he don't agree with me. Because I want to do what the hell I want to do.
Hey. Wow.
I wouldn't personally have a person come to me if he's or she is not wanting to do the complete act of being fruitful and multiplying and replenish the earth. Otherwise, matrimony don't make no sense. Because you're trying to populate, and if you can't populate, it don't make no sense to me. It really don't. So, but who am I? But I can't prove that God is wrong.
Yeah.
And if he got enough sense which he does, to sanctify marriage, then I don't have no arguments with him. Now, what the church or some churches that are in the name of the church have done is compromise so that they won't get sued. It's all about money.
Yeah. And
now here's another thing I want to go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish up.
No, I just wanted to perhaps just me point out our biggest issue other than skin color. Baby got back. And boy, did you see him when they pulled his pants down.
Excuse me.
Wait a minute.
I missed something.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead. Did I just miss something? Because it seemed like he said, baby got back.
I missed it too, Leonard.
But he was talking about something.
Exactly. Yeah, he threw an absolute curveball in that one, brother.
Please let us know what you meant, Mr. Toussaint.
Say what I'm saying. I'm saying our sister is something else.
Okay.
Because even the slave masters' wives had issues because master was sleeping with them and having babies with them because they had more back than she had.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. See, and me and Leonard, I think me and Leonard kind of took this thing from
y'all went way off.
Yeah. Because I was like, wait a minute, hold on now. You just say baby got back, and then okay, Leonard, we was off.
It wasn't no ribs I'm talking about. It wasn't no baby back ribs.
Oh, okay. Woo, Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
He said something key then, and he said the word conform, about how the church conformed because they didn't want to be sued. Well, guess what? Some religious gay people did. They still was fruitful and they still multiplied. But then after they multiplied, they went and got with who they was in love with.
Mm-hmm.
They killed two birds. They said, you know what, I'm
Exactly,
gonna take
Rico.
I want to take care of both sides of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna try my best to do this heterosexual thing. And I'm gonna have kids, and now all of a sudden, after I have kids, I'm gonna pull a Bruce Jenner. Hey y'all, Mr. Mom.
Right.
Surprise.
They've been
You
doing
know, so I mean, you know, it gets to a point where it's not even about their religion or spirituality. It might be about legacy. They might just want to make sure they keep the bloodline going. They want to keep the family name going.
Right.
So, you know, and they still have those homosexual desires. But this is what I'm gonna do, because if I have an opportunity to get anybody to leave this conversation today and keep something on their mind, I want them to keep on their mind the fact that we refuse to counsel people, or we continue to embrace and endorse people, support people that shouldn't be supported. And then the LBGT has the power. And like I said, I commend them. I'm sort of jealous that they could come in and they could counsel people that really don't deserve a platform. And when you leave this conversation, regardless if you're thinking about two people being married or the same sex or whatever, ask yourself, why didn't we counsel R. Kelly? The LGBTQ got some balls. The men and the women, they got balls, and I respect them. Because even though some of the things they do out of emotion, and some things really aren't that offensive, they still get the job done. They nip it in the bud before you get a little too comfortable and decide to go overboard. But see, us, we love our entertainment so much that we don't even want to acknowledge the real point that he was making. So we don't spend this whole 2.5 hours gay. Yeah, super powerful gay people that have put their foot down and showed you that if you say something wrong to hurt their feelings, they will cut you off. But here it is, you could go and pee on little girls and you'll have supporters. Well, I'm gonna still listen to him because he make me feel good. I like his music. Ain't nobody got more. Who gonna beat R. Kelly in the verses? Is that what y'all thinking about with R. Kelly? I don't even think about music no more. I can't even think of his successes and his accomplishments. So if anybody leaves this conversation today and have anything on their mind, I hope Rico make you remember the major point that he was making is that we need to get our stuff together.
Yep.
We supporting and embracing people and giving people platforms and positions of influence, making them rich, wealthy, and influential to our younger generation, dictating the trends of our society and our culture. We're putting them in a position when they don't deserve it. And then you got gay people to come out here and say, that's too disrespectful right there, boy. Get off that stage. What's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? I'm going to give a hand to the LGBTQ. I ain't got a problem with y'all. Get married if you want to. That ain't my business. My business is trying to figure out when we're going to stand up for our community as black men and black women and save our children and save the message and the influence that's going on. Because, like I said, we're contributing to our own demise.
Absolutely. Brother Pete, you got to follow that one up, brother. What's on your heart?
Ain't nothing to follow up. He just summed it up.
Exactly.
That's what I've been saying all morning. Individual and collective responsibility. That's the point that I heard the brother was making in the beginning. That's what I interpreted from Chappelle's statement is, hey, you all get more individually and collectively responsible about yourselves and your issues and get your unity and your efforts and put your money behind, your subject matter, your perspective, and you will win. Not that you can win, you will win.
Absolutely.
So take note of how others are moving and move in kind, so you can get some results along the same lines. That's the whole point.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the whole point.
That's it. In a nutshell, brother.
Excuses. No excuses. No excuses. There's no excuses. The black church puts their money in a bank. Why don't they put it in a financial institution that they create collectively or that's going to benefit them first? I mean, and I just call that one example out. It's across the board. You can't complain about others in the community making money off us if we don't get together, if we can't get along. Pull your pennies together and turn them into nickels, into dimes, into quarters of dollars, and buy the building and the land and open up the business. When you own mission, when you determine. So come on now. We got a whole lot of individual and collective responsibility. We can't elect representatives anymore that are cockroach Negroes and just get in there and play the game. If we elect you to do our bid, then do our bid. If you're not ready for the fight, then don't step up and fill out the application and apply for the position. If you're not ready to take on the real duties it's going to take in that arena. It's across the board. You're a father, you made a baby with a woman, you now have a responsibility along the lines of what you just produced with that woman.
Exactly.
It ain't nothing else.
Yeah, ain't no
you got a personal responsibility along the lines of that child. That's it. You see what I'm saying? Come on now.
Exactly.
They ain't gonna stop making excuses.
Toya with a T, you back with us? Trying to catch up with you before we get out of here. You back with us? Sadaria, what's on your heart, sis? We got actually we over time, but give me your quick version. What's on your heart, sis?
I just think the young man summed it up, and I think as a Black community, that's what we have to do. One day we just have to unite, and until we do that, we just talking.
Yep. And like Rico said, words are just how you say that thing, Rico?
That words ain't nothing but sound that come out of your mouth.
Absolutely. We got Cassandra back. Cassandra, what's on your heart, sis? Before we get out of here.
Yeah, just really quickly, I wanted to mention that tomorrow I am having a purple and pink brunch in recognition of domestic violence and breast cancer awareness. It's at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I'm having a 70s party in honor of a friend of mine that's terminally ill.
Wow.
And she wanted me to have her 70s party. So you guys are definitely invited. If you need any information, you can get it on my Facebook page. But the brunch is free at this point. The brunch is free and the party is free. So come out and hang out and get some information at the brunch on breast cancer and domestic violence, and then come out and hang with us tomorrow night at the 70s party.
You want to give the addresses, Cassandra, or?
It's in Riverdale, but the address is on my page on the flyer, but it's 5595 Riverdale Road, 5595 Riverdale Road.
Okay, good deal. And Rico, stick this one here's to you, brother. Can you see that?
I can't see it. I'm on the phone.
He said, throw some push-ups in there. He said, you're doing a lot of walking, but he said, throw some push-ups in there, man. He said, throw a couple of push-ups in there now. Every now and then.
I used to. I had to stop, man. You remember I got that hernia, man. You know what I'm saying? So I was doing 400 push-ups and 400 sit-ups a day. I was doing Ironman. You know that I would do this walk. I was trying to get at least 5 miles in.
Yeah.
And then I had an Ironman routine I did with 5 stations, and the 2 of them were sit-ups. And so by the end of the day, I would do 400 reps of each. But that hernia kicked in, man, and it's been a wrap. Yeah, this midsection done left. Done left the building.
There you go. He said we said I left the building out of here.
I left the building, man.
Good deal. Listen, anybody else got anything before we get out of here, man? It's about time for us to get out of here, man. It's 10:06. Anybody have anything? Any closing remarks they would like to make before we close out? With that being said, Rico, what's going on at 3 o'clock today, sir?
If you missed today's show and would like to catch it in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Good deal. Brother Pete, you still with us? Pete, you still there? I think we may have lost Pete. I'm gonna give Pete the prayer. We still got Sadaria. Sadaria, prayers house, sis. Sadaria?
I'm here.
Prayers house, sis.
Okay. Thank you guys as usual. And I always enjoy hearing you. Father God, we just thank you for opportunity to share and to give views and ideas to those who would listen, especially our young people, Lord. We pray that as we continue on, that it does affect a change in our community. And we just pray for everybody, Lord, and the needs of everybody in every community. We thank you for Brother Raheen and the show and all that participate. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. We're about to get out of here for today. Captain Leonard, anything on your heart before we get out of here, sir?
Man, I just want to let everybody know that the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yes, sir. Point blank. Period. We leave it. We look here. We can leave it right there. We can leave it right there. It's been great. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your day. It is now 10:08. You're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great weekend. Love you. And please stay blessed.